My name is Victoria Hayes. I'm 38 years old. I have been married to my husband, Michael, for 15 years. We have 2 children, Lucas, 12, and Emma, 9. We live in a brick colonial house on Maple Street in a quiet suburb of Boston. We have a garden that blooms every spring, a golden retriever named Charlie, and a mortgage we will finally pay off in 7 years. By every measurable standard, I had a good life. I thought I had a happy one too. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock. It slides in quietly, like a draft under a door you thought you had sealed. You don't notice the cold until you're already shivering. The first time I suspected something was wrong was a Tuesday in October. Michael came home at 7:30 instead of 6:15. He said there had been traffic on the pike. He kissed my cheek, a peck really, and went upstairs to shower. I didn't think anything of it. Traffic happens. The second time was a Thursday. He was on his phone in the backyard, standing near the oak tree where the kids play. He was smiling. Not his usual polite smile, a real smile. The kind he used to give me. When he saw me through the window, he hung up quickly and came inside. Work, he said. I nodded. I didn't ask whose. The third time, I found a receipt in his coat pocket. A hotel in Cambridge. Dated 2 weeks earlier. He had told me he was working late at the office that night. The receipt was for a room. I stood in the closet, holding that small piece of paper, and felt something cold move through me. Not anger yet. Not even sadness. Just a slow, creeping certainty that the life I believed in was made of glass, and someone had just tapped it with a hammer. I didn't confront him. Not then. I told myself there was an explanation. A client meeting. A room he booked for a colleague. I told myself I was being paranoid. The way women are trained to tell themselves when their intuition screams otherwise. I put the receipt back in his pocket. I went downstairs and made dinner. I helped Lucas with his algebra homework. I read Emma a bedtime story about a rabbit who wasn't afraid of the dark. And I smiled. That was the beginning of the worst year of my life. For the next 6 months, I became someone I didn't recognize. A detective. A spy. A woman who checked her husband's phone while he was in the shower, who memorized the mileage on his car, who started keeping a journal of his absences and excuses. I hated myself for it. But I couldn't stop. Because every time I looked for proof that I was wrong, I found proof that I was right. The late nights increased. The business trips became more frequent. Chicago, Dallas, New York. He would kiss me goodbye on a Sunday evening and return on a Thursday afternoon, tired and distant, smelling of hotel soap and someone else's perfume. He started wearing new cologne. He bought new underwear. He went to the gym 3 times a week after years of claiming he was too busy. And I started losing weight. Not on purpose. My appetite just disappeared. I would sit at the dinner table with my children, pushing food around my plate, smiling, nodding, pretending. Lucas asked me once, "Mom, are you sick?" I said I was just tired. He looked at me with his father's eyes and said, "You look sad." I kissed his forehead and told him I was fine. I was not fine. The affair had a name. I learned it by accident. Michael left his work laptop open one evening when he went to take a call in the backyard. I didn't mean to look. I swear I didn't. But the message was right there on the screen, from a contact named Jay. "Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again?" Her name was Julia. I found that out later. Julia Cordova, 31 years old. A marketing consultant who had worked with Michael's company on a project 2 years earlier. She was pretty in that polished, put-together way that made me feel old and tired in comparison. Her Instagram was full of brunches and beach vacations and photos of her laughing with friends. She had no children. She had no mortgage. She had no idea, or maybe she did, that she was sleeping with a man who had promised to love me until death. I saved the screenshot. I don't know why. Maybe because some part of me already knew that I would need proof. That when I finally confronted him, he would deny it. That men like Michael, successful, charming, beloved by everyone, don't confess. They get caught. I waited until after the holidays. I didn't want to ruin Christmas for the children. So I smiled through Thanksgiving. I wrapped presents and sang carols and hosted his family for dinner on Christmas Eve. I watched him kiss me at midnight and whisper, "Happy anniversary, sweetheart," because our 15th anniversary was December 28th. I smiled. I kissed him back. And I felt nothing. On January 4th, after the kids were back in school and the Christmas tree was on the curb, I asked him to sit down in the living room. I had printed everything. The screenshots, the hotel receipts, the timeline of his business trips that didn't align with his company's calendar. I placed them on the coffee table between us. He looked at the papers, then at me, then back at the papers. "What is this?" he asked. His voice was calm. Too calm. "You know what it is." "Victoria." "Don't lie to me, Michael. Not anymore. I've been living with your lies for 6 months. I can't do it another day." He was silent for a long time. The clock on the mantel ticked. The dog slept at our feet. Outside, a snowplow scraped the street. Finally, he said, "Her name is Julia." I knew, but hearing him say it was like swallowing glass. "It started a year ago," he continued. "We worked on a project together. One thing led to another. I never meant for it to go this far. I tried to end it. Twice. But she makes me feel alive. I know that sounds terrible. I know I'm a terrible person. But you and we've been roommates for years, Victoria. We parent together. We run a household together. But we don't connect anymore. Not the way I need." I listened. I let him explain. I let him blame me, because that's what cheaters do. They rewrite history. They convince themselves that their betrayal was a response, not an action. That they were pushed. That they were lonely. That their spouse stopped seeing them, so they found someone who would. When he finished, I asked only one question. "Do you love her?" He hesitated. That hesitation was my answer. "I don't know," he said. I think I'm confused." I stood up. I walked to the kitchen. I poured myself a glass of water. I drank it slowly, feeling the cold move down my throat, and I thought about the past 15 years. Our wedding in the vineyard. The birth of Lucas. How Michael had cried when he held him. The night Emma had a fever, and we took turns staying awake, holding her, singing to her. The vacations, the arguments, the quiet mornings with coffee and the newspaper. All of it. Every memory. And then I thought about Julia. About the hotel rooms. About the lies. About the way he had kissed me goodbye on Sunday evenings, knowing he would be in her bed by midnight. I went back to the living room. He was still sitting on the couch, his head in his hands. "I want you to leave," I said. "Tonight. I'll tell the kids you have a work emergency. I'll tell your mother you're traveling. But I can't have you in this house while I figure out what to do." He looked up at me. His eyes were wet. "Victoria, please." "Please what? Please forgive you? Please pretend I didn't see what I saw? Please go back to being the wife who waits up for you, who believes your lies, who smiles at dinner parties while you flirt with other women?" My voice cracked. "I can't. I won't. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it." He left that night. He packed a small bag, suits, ties, toiletries, and walked out the front door. The dog whined at the window. I stood in the doorway and watched his taillights disappear down Maple Street. Then I closed the door, leaned against it, and slid to the floor. I didn't cry. Not yet. That would come later. The next morning, I told the children that Daddy had to go on a sudden work trip. Lucas looked at me with his father's eyes, the ones that saw too much, and said, "Is he coming back?" I said yes. I didn't know if I was lying. I called my best friend, Sarah. She lived 3 hours away in New York, but she dropped everything and drove to Boston that afternoon. She showed up with groceries, wine, and the kind of hug that makes you feel like maybe the world isn't entirely broken. "Tell me everything," she said. I did. I told her about the receipts, the phone calls, the screenshots, the hotel in Cambridge. I told her about Julia. I told her about the way Michael had looked at me when he said we were roommates. I told her about the 15 years I had given him, my youth, my body, my dreams, my trust, and how he had traded them for a woman who posted selfies in yoga pants. Sarah listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't say, "I knew he was no good," or "You should have seen the signs." She just held my hand and let me talk until my voice gave out. When I finished, she said, "What do you want to do?" "I don't know." "Then let's not decide today. Today we drink wine and watch bad movies and eat ice cream straight from the carton. Tomorrow we can be adults." I laughed. It was the first time I had laughed in months. Michael moved into an apartment in Cambridge, the same neighborhood as the hotel, I noticed. He saw the children every other weekend, and on Wednesdays for dinner. He took them to the science museum, to the movies, to the ice cream shop on the corner. He was the fun dad now. The one who wasn't exhausted from managing a household, from helping with homework, from worrying about orthodontist appointments and violin lessons. I was the boring parent. The one who enforced bedtimes and checked homework and said no to second helpings of dessert. The one who cried in the shower so the children wouldn't hear. The divorce took 8 months. Michael hired a lawyer, a pit bull named Harold Finch who specialized in making women feel like gold diggers. I hired a lawyer too, a woman named Margaret Chun who had been divorced twice herself and didn't flinch when I told her about the affair. We fought over the house, over the car, over the retirement accounts, over custody. Michael wanted 50-50, but I knew he couldn't handle it. He traveled too much. He was too busy building his new life with Julia. In the end, I got primary custody. He got every other weekend and Thursday nights. He also got a mortgage on his new condo, and a monthly child support payment that made him wince every time he wrote the check. I didn't feel victorious. I felt emptied, like someone had scooped out everything inside me, and left only a shell that went through the motions of living. I met her 6 months after the divorce was final. It was an accident. I was at a coffee shop in Brookline, the one near Lucas's orthodontist. I was ordering a latte when I heard a voice behind me say, "I'll have the same." I turned. It was her. I knew it immediately. The blonde hair, the bright smile, the effortless confidence. She was wearing a cream sweater and jeans that probably cost more than my weekly grocery budget. She was beautiful, and she had no idea who I was. "Victoria," I said. She blinked. "I'm sorry, do I know you? I'm Michael's ex-wife." The color drained from her face. She looked at me like I might scream, or throw something, or cry. I didn't do any of those things. I just stood there, holding my coffee, looking at the woman who had helped destroy my marriage. I'm sorry," she stammered. I never wanted to." "You never wanted to what? Hurt me? You slept with my husband for over a year. You knew he had a family. You knew about Lucas and Emma. You knew and you didn't care." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't feel sorry for her. "I'm not here to make a scene," I said. "I'm here because my son has an orthodontist appointment in 10 minutes. But I want you to know something. You didn't break me. You didn't win anything. You got a man who lies to the people he loves. Congratulations. I hope he's worth it." I walked away. My hands were shaking, but my voice had been steady. That was the first time I realized I was stronger than I thought. Healing didn't come in a moment. It came in pieces. It came on a Tuesday night when I put the children to bed and sat alone in the living room. And for the first time, I didn't feel lonely. I felt peaceful. The house was quiet. The dog was snoring. The dishes were done. And I realized that I had survived. It came on a Saturday morning when Lucas made pancakes without being asked. They were lumpy and slightly burned, and Emma said they tasted like cardboard, but he had done it for me. Because he saw me crying the night before. Because he was 12 years old, and already learning how to take care of the people he loved. It came on a rainy afternoon when I found my wedding dress in the back of the closet. I had kept it for 15 years, telling myself I would pass it down to Emma someday. I looked at it, the lace, the pearls, the memories, and I felt nothing. Not sadness, not anger, not regret. Just a quiet recognition that the woman who wore that dress was gone. She had been replaced by someone harder, maybe, but also someone truer. I donated the dress to a charity that helps brides who can't afford their own. I hoped someone else would wear it and have a better ending. A year after the divorce, Michael called me. It was late, almost 11 p.m. I almost didn't answer. "Victoria," he said. His voice was thick. He had been drinking. "What do you want, Michael?" "I want to come home." I sat up in bed. "What?" "Julia and we broke up. She said I was still in love with you. She said she could feel it. And she's right. I am. I never stopped. I was stupid. I was selfish. I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me because I was bored and scared and stupid. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, can we try again?" I listened. I let him talk. I let him apologize and cry and beg. And when he finished, I said something that surprised even me. "No. No. No, Michael. You don't get to break my heart, move in with your mistress, and then come back when it doesn't work out. You don't get to choose me because your second choice failed. I'm not a consolation prize. I'm not a backup plan. I'm the woman who loved you for 15 years, who gave you 2 beautiful children, who held our family together while you were out chasing something younger and shinier. And you lost me. Not because I'm bitter. Not because I'm punishing you. Because I finally realized that I deserve more than a man who only wants me when he's lonely." He was silent for a long time. Then he whispered, "I understand." "Do you?" "I think I'm starting to." "Good. Then let me go, Michael. Really let me go. Not because you're being noble. Because it's the only way either of us will ever be happy." He said goodbye. I hung up. And for the first time in 2 years, I slept through the night without dreaming of him. 6 months after that phone call, I met someone. His name is David. He's a high school history teacher. He has a beard and a laugh that sounds like a goose, and he reads poetry out loud while he cooks. He was married once too. His wife left him for a chiropractor. He knows what it's like to be discarded, to question your worth, to wonder if you'll ever be enough. We take things slowly. We don't talk about marriage or moving in together. We just enjoy each other. We go to museums and farmers markets and long walks along the Charles River. He makes me laugh. He makes me feel seen. He doesn't try to fix me because he knows I'm not broken. I'm still healing. Some days, I still get angry. Some days I still cry. Some days I look at Lucas, who is now 14 and almost as tall as his father, and I see Michael's face, and my chest aches. But the ache is softer now. It doesn't cut the way it used to. I've learned things. I've learned that love is not a guarantee. It's a risk. You can do everything right and still get hurt. But you can also survive. You can rebuild. You can find joy in the small things. The sound of your daughter's laugh, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. I've learned that forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about accepting that the past cannot be changed, and choosing not to let it poison your future. I've learned that being alone is not the same as being lonely, and that sometimes the most important relationship you can have is the one with yourself. Last week, I found a letter in the mailbox. It was from Michael, handwritten on cream-colored stationery. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. "Victoria, I'm not writing to ask for another chance. I know I don't deserve one. I'm writing to tell you that I finally understand what I lost. Not just you, myself. The man I used to be. The husband I promised to be. The father I should have been. I've been in therapy for over a year now. I've been working on the parts of me that made it possible to lie to you, to betray you, to throw away 15 years for something that was never real. Julia and I didn't last, and I'm grateful for that. Not because I want to come back. I know that door is closed, but because her leaving forced me to look at myself. And I didn't like what I saw. I hurt you. I hurt our children. I hurt our families. And I can never undo that. But I can try to be better. I can try to be the kind of man who deserves to be Lucas and Emma's father, even if I no longer deserve to be your husband. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I see you now. I see the strength it took to walk away. I see the grace it took to let me see the children without fighting. I see the woman I was too blind to appreciate when I had her. You deserved better. And I'm sorry, truly deeply sorry, that I wasn't the man who could give it to you. I hope you find happiness. I hope you find someone who loves you the way you always deserve to be loved. And I hope that someday, when the kids are grown and the pain has faded, you can look back on our marriage and remember the good parts too. There were good parts, Victoria. There were. Thank you for our children. Thank you for the years you gave me. And thank you for teaching me, finally, what it means to lose something precious. With regret, and with love. Michael. I read the letter 3 times. Then I folded it and put it in the drawer with my grandmother's ring and Lucas's first baby tooth, and the dried flowers from my wedding bouquet. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just felt a quiet sense of closure. Like a door that had been half open for years had finally clicked shut. Today is Sunday. The sun is shining through the kitchen window. Emma is drawing at the table. Lucas is playing video games in the living room. Charlie is curled up on his bed, snoring. And I am making pancakes. The pancakes are not lumpy anymore. I've had a lot of practice. David is coming over for dinner tonight. He's bringing his famous lasagna and a bottle of red wine. We're going to eat and laugh and maybe watch a movie. He'll hold my hand on the couch and I'll let him. Not because I need him. I don't. But because I want him. There's a difference. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if David and I will last. I don't know if Michael will ever truly change. I don't know if Lucas and Emma will grow up to be happy, or if they'll carry the scars of their parents' divorce forever. But I know this. I am enough. I was enough before Michael. I was enough during the marriage, even when he didn't see it. I was enough during the divorce, when I felt like a failure. And I am enough now, standing in my kitchen in my pajamas, making pancakes for my children, listening to the sound of their laughter. Betrayal broke my heart. But it did not break me. And that, I think, is the most important thing I will ever learn. If you are reading this and you are hurting, if you are in the middle of your own unraveling, your own discovery, your own dark night, please know that you are not alone. You are not weak. You are not foolish for having loved. You are human. And humans survive. We heal. We grow. We learn to trust again. Not blindly but wisely. We learn to set boundaries. We learn to love ourselves first. And one day, we wake up and realize that the person who hurt us no longer has the power to define us. That day will come for you too. I promise. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Cry when you need to. Scream when you need to. Eat the ice cream. Watch the sad movies. Call your friends. And remember, you were whole before them, and you will be whole after them. You are not the story they wrote about you. You are the author of your own. What would you have done in Victoria's place? Would you have taken Michael back after his letter? Would you have forgiven Julia? Would you have stayed in the marriage for the children? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this story touched you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is remind each other that we're not alone.